All right, calling to order the March 21, 2024 Arts Commission meeting at 7:01. If we could please do a call to order.
Good evening, everybody. Amanda Alwine.
Present.
Trieste Andrews.
Present.
Karen Burrig.
Here.
Tima Carlson.
Here.
Daria Loy.
Here.
Josh Planton.
Here.
Choir.
Here.
And Rebecca Sierra.
Here.
Okay, first is public comment.
I did not receive any public comment.
Okay. All right, if people can review the agenda for today's meeting. Give you a couple moments.
And I'm going to, I didn't pick up, by the way.
Are there any questions? All right, if we can, someone could make a motion for adopting the agenda for Thursday, March 21.
I make a motion to adopt the agenda. I second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Our next topic is to approve our meeting minutes from February 15, 2024. Give you a couple moments to review.
Very meaty meeting.
I motion to accept the minutes.
Do we have a second?
A second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Our minutes for February 15 have been passed. So discussion items. We're going to be reviewing the selection criteria of the artists that applied for replacing the 7th Street sculpture and try to narrow it down to 4 artists. There are images of the artists' previous sculptures and a spreadsheet of the 12 that submitted their applications on time, and then 3 additional that came in a little late. Is that correct?
That's
Okay.
correct. So 15 total. I was very pleased with that result. I remember I was starting to get a little nervous, and then we ended up with some really great submissions. Did anyone have a hard time with the OneDrive? I know I've talked to 1 or 2 folks. If people want, I can display things right now so that you're not looking at just that one little tiny image. I can call up the proposals of any of the artists. And I thought we would also just take a couple of minutes to discuss how we want to proceed. Like, what's the I started to make a second spreadsheet in addition to the scoring summary that listed some specific criteria that were in our RFP. And where are they from? Are they a Clackamas County artist or not? The strength of originality the strength and the originality of the proposal. But I wanted to check in with you and see how people felt like. Do we want to just read through them? How do you want to score them? I mean, I think I think if we keep in mind, their location, strength of concept, and their previous, the 3 things that we asked for were, are they a Clackamas County artist? strength and originality of the concept, and then their experience and their previous experience with public exhibition. I think those were the three things that we talked about in the RFP. So those are the things that we could, as we are rating them, we could discuss those. But
So the photos, are they the proposed sculpture that they would be placing, or are they examples of their previous?
it depends on the artist.
Yeah.
Some artists did include, some artists created a model or submitted a sketch.
Like,
One or two of them have the actual, here's what it is, don't you want to buy it?
yes.
So it varies a little bit by artist.
One thing that perhaps if we're thinking about criteria, I know that we asked if they are from Clackamas. At the same time, we allowed submission from out of Clackamas. So because of that, it's questionable whether we can use that as a metric and criteria for selection. Because otherwise, if being in Clackamas was a mandatory thing, we should not have accepted anybody from out of Clackamas.
Another idea is just to discuss each piece in turn and then do an initial vote and see if 4 flow it up to the top. And then we don't have to worry about creating an official matrix with points and, so.
Maybe even like starting with eliminating pieces that we feel they have something that it can be dangerous or not strong enough, or, maybe there is some example that, or, is not relevant for the location, or is not a very, maybe, contemporary art piece, or.
And that's kind of hard. That was something that stood out to me. And when I was looking through these, the first thing I thought of, because I've seen this happen, are little kids getting their fingers or hands stuck in things. And so with these being, some of them being models, like, is that the model of their typical type of work? Some of them are very detailed. And because this is going to be right at street level, are there pokey bits? Are there places to get head stuck, fingers, arms, all of that sort of stuff? Like, to me, if that would eliminate a good number of these right away.
Yeah.
So,
And, and I remember also to the point, some of the artists, like I was reading every single package today, some of the artists had similar artworks already exhibited in nearby location, like Oswego versus whatever. And so, which presumably, if they managed to make it there, those maybe are more safe than others. But I also felt that there were a couple that was like,
yeah, and I guess
Not
it
sure.
depends on where they're installed.
yeah.
If they're accessible, easily accessible.
It's going like at the corner.
No, I mean, in the other cities,
other
like if
cities,
it's in
right.
Lake Oswego
Yeah.
or Westland, like,
Yeah.
it depends on where it's installed.
I mean, we could go, yeah. Yeah, the one that you say you've seen, that one is, these artists, 2 of them, they have this piece already installed in, don't remember if it was whatever is installed, but they are proposing to make the second version of that. So presumably very similar to this, but not this one, obviously. But that's what I remember from that specific proposal. I mean, we could go one by one.
Yeah, we can,
Well, don't we go one by one and discuss pros and cons, maybe?
yeah,
Okay,
let's,
I think that's a great idea.
And what part of this process is going to involve the McLaughlin Neighborhood Association?
Well, I've already shared some information with them.
Okay.
They met last week, and
I
I
was at the
gave.
meeting.
Was that?
I was at the meeting, but we didn't talk about anything.
Oh, okay. It wasn't,
I mean,
yeah.
I mentioned this.
Yeah, okay. So the summary table and the 2 handouts that were on the summary table and the flyer was distributed to the McLaughlin Neighborhood Association at the same time you all got it. And then I did give the access to the OneDrive to one of the McLaughlin Neighborhood Association chair. So they do have the ability to look in and look at more detail.
And
And
they were
then,
hoping for more involvement, like more,
they're welcome to come to next month's meeting.
yeah. I mean, I think they were hoping to give a review themselves of the pieces, like to have some say in the selection. That seemed to be something that the mayor indicated.
Well, I can follow up with both. I mean, I've talked with both Denise and I think Tim is the name of the man. And let them know that they could definitely put together they could definitely summarize their input if they have a conversation at their meeting, or if they want to have, like, they can definitely contribute that to us for consideration at
Are
the
we in a
April.
rush to get this done?
I mean, the current schedule is that we are going to interview the 4 folks next month.
April.
I mean, my suggestion would be delay this, bring this right here to the McLaughlin Neighborhood Association meeting, have them look at all this information, and then give us their 4 recommendations, and then have us interview those 4 people.
But may I interject? I think I really like the participatory nature of your proposal. One thing perhaps to consider, however, is that the association might go on instinct what they like and not have practical considerations that perhaps we may have. And by giving them all this,
I know
they
this-
might go for 4 that
Yeah.
maybe are,
No,
a danger to
agree.
public. You know what I mean?
But this is different. This is the mayor's neighborhood. The mayor has expressed a specific interest in
Yeah,
this
yeah,
particular
yes.
piece of art.
Yeah.
So we need to, I feel like we need to treat this differently than other stuff we do. Like, we should slow down, make sure that the neighborhood association has a say in this. This could affect our funding next time.
Yeah.
You know, like if we really get the buy-in from the
Yeah.
neighborhood association, and the mayor like looks at what we're doing and says, oh, the Arts Commission really listened to the community.
Yeah.
Then I think it'll elevate our position within the.
So it sounds like what you're suggesting, if I like basically sending via email the access has already happened, perhaps it's not enough, and perhaps it requires a physical
I mean, I was at the
presentation.
McLaughlin Neighborhood Association meeting last week, and they didn't
They
talk
didn't
about
discuss
any of
it.
this, Yeah.
Yeah. I will say that, like,
Okay.
the final decision is up to the Arts Commission.
That's true.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So
I
it's not
welcome their
up to
input.
the city commission to approve our recommendation?
Well, I mean, you
it's-
guys are
it's our
going to be the
decision.
ones that say, this is the artist and the
Yeah.
concept that we are choosing. And the choice will be the Arts Commission.
Yeah.
I do think it's important to get the input of the McLaughlin Neighborhood Association in particular, and other folks. So like maybe we do extra work to promote next month's meeting.
Yeah, I mean, your
do
suggestion
extra.
is good too, to invite them also. That's
Right,
another way to
right.
do it.
And I
to
will
keep
say,
it
I've talked with Denise and I've talked with 2 representatives from the McLaughlin Neighborhood Association, and I've invited them to submit written comment and to also come to the discussion next month.
So why don't we, I mean, one compromise would be maybe we could pick our 4 people. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, go ahead.
But I mean, the one way to do it, another way to do it is pick our 4 people and then really make sure that everybody in McLaughlin gets those 4 people. Maybe they'd rather have just 4 choices rather than
I
14.
agree with that.
Yeah,
And
I
then-
also agree.
And then they can give us their feedback, and that'll be a big part of.
Yeah, I agree
criteria.
with that, yeah.
We should
narrow
it I mean, if our next meeting, we're making the actual decision on 4, could we make sure that we invite whoever wants to come from McLaughlin to be a part of that discussion? And possibly even, I don't know if it's allowed, but possibly even give a vote. If that
Yeah,
is
I
could be
think-
part of the process.
I think, though, however, what we're talking about is narrowing down to 4 tonight.
Right.
And then sharing that 4 and getting the feedback from the McLaughlin
Exactly.
Neighborhood Association, or if there's
Yeah.
other as well, and then us using that feedback at the next meeting, where we would then hear.
Yes. I think the only
that's
thing
right,
we have to, I'm sorry, the only thing we have to consider is if we're using the grant money for this, which we went for the Metro grant, that has to be completed and paid to the artist by June 30th. We're getting close to that if it's a sculpture. Not that we couldn't ask for an extension, but Anne, what do you think? It used to be very easy to get extensions on the Metro grant 5 years ago. It is not as easy, so,
I think we can ask for an extension.
okay.
I have a question about your communication with the McLaughlin Neighborhood Association. Were they aware of our timeline when you gave them all that information, like, was there communication being like, you know, this is our timeline, we would love your input, we need it by this time?
I mean, it's
I
just.
believe so.
the-
That's a good question.
I mean,
I let
we
them-
meet every other month.
Yeah.
Usually every single meeting is completely packed.
Yeah.
Mostly with codes and neighborhood stuff. This is
Yeah.
kind of like at the very end of their thought process, so.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I mean, I think that there's a way of getting it in there in between meetings that because they have like communication in between. And so that's kind of where we want to get that in right now.
So basically what I'm hearing is that, to summarize, that we want tonight to narrow it down to 4, then send those 4, the packages of those 4 to the association, get there, maybe even present it at the next meeting, and ensure that we collect written or, you know, substantial feedback to those 4 proposals and their perspective, and then we read those that feedback and we use it in consideration. Not necessarily that what they choose is what, I mean, we need to make our decision as an arts commission, right? And take that into account so that we have got that as a package, right? And before the vote in April.
I think that's right. I think that's right.
Yeah, I don't think that.
my
have to
point
go
was
to-
just that, my point is just that I definitely don't want to slow down our timeline in order to get that feedback.
Yeah, we don't have to go, I mean, we don't have to go to the next meeting. If our deadline for Metro announcement is June 30th, I mean, you know, all those people live right in this neighborhood. They're all in walking distance
Yeah.
of this meeting. We could
Exactly.
easily, we could even request that they do a special postcard mailing, you know, to let their membership know about the next Arts Commission meeting.
Good idea.
Yeah, anything. I mean,
Yeah.
we're in their neighborhood.
Yeah, and I can, and I'm happy, or if someone else wants to volunteer, I mean, I know a number of you live in that neighborhood. Their April meeting.
Talking to your mic, I guess.
Is that the police again?
Yeah. That was the most exciting
Sorry,
meeting.
Josh, can you not hear? Is that better?
I don't,
Now he's better, he's okay.
Thank you.
I don't think
Well,
there's
they're
a
only
general
after the-
meeting for
Josh.
Yeah, they're
McLaughlin
not-
Neighborhood Association in April. It won't be
No,
until
it's,
May.
yeah, it's not until May.
Yeah, so that might,
So we
because
need
there's
to,
every other-
we just need to invite them to come to our meeting.
Exactly. We don't invite at the beginning.
Right.
They express, you know, live the perspective, and then after that we can do the voting
yeah.
and use that in consideration.
Yeah.
I would say also that the conversation around McLaughlin Neighborhood Association has got me thinking about other forms of public outreach where we like encourage people to come like throughout the community to
Yeah,
come to the
exactly.
to the April meeting.
Like DOCA might be involved or interested to
Yeah,
have
because
that.
it's part of the broader kind of Oregon City, right? I mean, even if you're not in this neighborhood, you still care about it, right?
oh, that's right.
Weren't you at the, you were at the meeting?
I was there, yeah.
You were there.
I'm trying to remember if you mentioned the timeline, and I don't think
No, I
that
don't
you
think I
did.
did. No, I didn't.
Good. All right, I like the conversation. So, shall we jump in?
Yeah. Number 1.
So on the summary chart, I broke them into Clackamas County and non-Clackamas County, and then I just did alphabetical by first name. So nothing more than that. So if we go in that order, the first person is Ben Dye, who is an Oregon City artist. Okay, so he submitted a good artist statement. And then he made a model. So this is a picture of the model that he made. He proposes something that's between 10 and 12 feet tall, 9 to 3 feet. And then how am I reading this? 1 foot wide, 3 feet deep, 10 to 12 feet tall, with a mixture of stainless steel and mild steel. And then this is just a model.
Real quick question. Do we have any sense of size limitations at the spot? Like, is there anything above it that would
restrictions or anything?
possibly be interfered with if it's too tall or if it's too wide? Is that, I'm trying to visualize the area.
Well, we know it can't jut out into the right of way. I mean, it can jut backwards onto the sidewalk, but not into where it would inhibit vehicular traffic. I have a meeting tomorrow with Public Works to let them know which of the proposals is looking up to the top, and then we're going to discuss specific anchoring and safety requirements based upon what we choose tonight.
Are they planning on putting additional bollards
Not right
around the
now,
sculpture?
but maybe that
To prevent that from happening again?
You know, I'd just like to make a
Maybe
note.
just use bollards as the sculpture.
I'd like to make a note just for process, is I listened to the meeting 2 weeks ago that I missed. And if you're not on your mic, you can, and there was one person here, there wasn't one word that I could hear from that person. So everybody note that when you speak into your microphone to make sure your voice is heard.
Yeah.
Noted.
Mr. Dye did also say that there are other sculptures that he has in existence that could potentially be relocated. This is in Lake Oswego. Another one. No, this is not one that could be removed.
No. Cute.
Yeah. Oh, actually, no, I'm sorry. These three are just examples of other.
No.
These are not available.
So
Yeah,
the-
those are just work examples.
I mean, is there I would have to do a proportionate kind of modeling for this one, this proposal. But based on, if I think about 10, 12 tall, the sizes that were given, this seems to be one of those examples where I can see a kid sticking head and just never come out, and then we have to call the fire brigade. Like, that this is one that has got some
Not safe.
not safe situation. Just,
I mean, I feel differently on that. I think, with a sign or something on there, I mean, we could look at almost every one of these and say that, because every one of these they're predominantly steel. So I just disagree with that personally, that, it's a piece of art and you should be careful with it and don't touch it. And don't let your kids stick their head in it. But we have no control over that.
I agree with that statement. I don't think we should be, anything can happen on any given day. I don't think we can try and prevent every accident that could happen. The signage, don't climb on art, should be sufficient to protect us, but yeah. We shouldn't be considering art just because of public safety. I think that misses the point.
I wonder what the core is constructed of.
me too.
Something we could ask him.
Well, I mean, I feel like he has, in his work examples, he understands how to make work that has longevity in a public space.
Yeah, I mean, he's a very popular artist. He has art everywhere, including the art we selected at the top of the hill on Malala. That was from Ben Dye. So he is a very famous steel artist and really respected in the
He do
community.
the flag, not the cross banner pole
Yep,
decorations.
did the cross banner pole art.
For the,
Okay, should we go on to the next one?
Yep.
Who's next? Oh, actually, Jenny is not actually alphabetical, is it? Chris Moon would be alphabetical.
That's okay. Jenny's next. We'll just go with Jenny.
So Chris Moon is an artist. He lives here in Oregon City.
Russian
which number is Chris Moon?
I'm sorry, I realized that
Number three.
alphabetically, actually, Chris should come before Jenny, so. So this is the model that he proposed. As you can see, this is something, he was saying that this would be made also out of concrete and steel. I remember what he said.
Yeah.
Do we have any idea how
Oh,
tall
I
it
was
would
just,
be?
yeah, didn't he say?
No, I didn't say. I don't think he did.
Look at this. I thought he did tell us how long. I'm going to open up his artist statement because I think he did mention.
Do we have an idea of whether, as an arts commission, we want to look for more traditional type of art versus contemporary type of art versus, because there are very different styles going on here. Some of them are like, the first one is a very kind of 1980s postmodern style. Then, this one is more kind of Russian constructivism.
Exactly, yes.
Right? And then
yes.
we have like the
Similar.
Heron, which is traditional style. So do we have a take on whether we want to have public art that is, for instance, telling narratives of tradition versus contemporary versus something, because I think that also an important choice for us to consider, given that, especially in the last meeting, as we learned, a lot of the public mural art that we have right now, the vast majority, not all of them, but the vast majority are very much in theme with pioneer and traditional type narratives, and I wonder if with this we want to take a chance with something that is a bit more contemporary and having a more contemporary vibe and narrative, I guess.
I'd like to speak to that in the sense that I think there was overall theme that the mayor and the neighborhood association expressed that they wanted this sculpture to just have a feeling of like community and this place is a good place to live. Mm-hmm. So I feel that personally, when I look at these, I'm totally fine with taking a chance on something, even though it's a historic neighborhood, taking a chance on something more contemporary. But I don't want something that doesn't
feel to that
doesn't
narrative.
feel warm and it doesn't speak to that narrative. So
yeah. But I mean, in that sense, for instance, arguably one could say that, a sculpture of an heron, for instance, right, that is very traditional, like the one is, number 4 there. If we want to stick with the narrative of community and feel like home, perhaps the heron maybe doesn't really fit that narrative, is more in the kind of...
I agree.
You know what I mean? So maybe if that is one of the themes that we want to utilize, it would be nice to think about it. Because it's an opportunity to have artwork that are that speak to the community that they're going to be part of, as well as speak to how we are as art commissioners are looking at art, right? And I think both are equally important to some degree, right? Maybe the first one is more important, the community part, but also is an important responsibility for the arts commission, right? From an artistic perspective, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To speak to the size, in his artist statement, Chris Moon says he would be welding 1.5-inch steel pipes together. That seems small.
Yeah, it sounds very small.
And then the base would be approximately 5 feet tall and made of concrete. So
Would it be okay if we with each proposal, like kind of just got to vote, like, do we want to move this one ahead or stop this one right here? Yeah. Can we do that?
I think that's a good idea.
Okay. So with this one,
Move things along.
yeah, how are we feeling with Chris Moon's? Does anyone feel like strongly
I
that?
don't think it conveys what McLaughlin neighborhood wanted to convey. They were very, it was very important to them that it was community support. And I love that idea as Art Tower or Decay, but I don't think that's in the same line.
Right, I agree.
I agree with Trieste.
Also, this one, I can see that over time it would accumulate a huge amount of garbage and becomes disgusting to look at because there's too many little areas.
I have 2 quick things. The first one is to the point of which pieces we should pick. In my mind, I think our best bet is to try and get a little diversity of what we pick as our top 4.
Yeah.
Because we never know what people might actually end up liking and not liking. Guessing whether they prefer one style versus another, I think kind of maybe limits us. The other thing too is, while I do believe we should give the McLaughlin neighborhood some a little bit more weight in terms of the feedback we receive from them in our final judgment. Public art is public art for Oregon City, for the people who come here. It shouldn't just be one neighborhood picking what they like and
Agreed.
everyone else having to,
Yeah.
be okay with it. I would say we could have people from other neighborhoods come next week,
Yeah.
next meeting, and put in their own feedback, and no one from the neighborhood association does. So I, would say let's not give everything over to what fits right with the McLaughlin neighborhood. I'm a McLaughlin neighborhood, I live there too, but I would say let's make sure that we give the broadest amount of perspective for people to come and give their feedback on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree, 100%.
that.
I feel, it makes me very uncomfortable, honestly, to feel that we would make a final decision based on one specific neighborhood taste preference, because it doesn't feel as inclusive as we can be. I agree.
Alrighty. Well, then, I'm going to move to the next artist. Also an Oregon City artist. Her name is, where'd that go?
Do we want to go back, though, to Ben Dyke to see if we want to move him up? Was that the?
So are we
Yeah, we
saying
never-
Chris Moon is not up, that
Yeah.
is out?
Yeah, Chris Moon
Is
is
out,
a no.
okay.
How are we, the last time we did this sort of thing, we actually,
Voted.
I mean,
Everybody
we,
first.
we had, we went through everything first. We had score sheets. We kind of like, I mean, it kind of feels like right now we're privileging whoever's first, basically.
Yeah.
Or maybe we'll privilege whoever's last.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy to
Agree.
distribute the score sheet that I started to put together that talked about those 3 different categories.
Yeah.
Or we could use the existing and just number it 1 through 4, and then give it to you for you to,
Yeah.
which has the most votes.
That's a good idea. Let's do
Just
that.
do
So that we do it without discussion, everyone gets their
Well,
own
we still do
opinion.
discussion, I think,
But we
First,
Right.
but-
at the end, we'll give our own
Agree.
Right.
okay, top
Good idea.
4 and move from there. So each
Yeah.
person has a voice and
Yep,
doesn't feel.
agree.
I'm going to move on to Jenny
Ellsworth.
Ellsworth. She is an Oregon City artist. This is an existing piece. She's proposing something that is a double spiral, but I think what she's proposing is a little bit different than this.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to have both things. I want you to be able to see the image of what she proposed at the same time as I read what she discussed. All right. You'd like to take steel material around about the same radius of a propane tank, and then galvanize it with powder coating. And then she would look to direction from the Arts Commission as to color or final finish. Description than that.
Does it have a tall base similar to the previous artists, where it would be raised, or is it a wider sculpture versus tall?
I thought that this one had like, literally not sitting on the ground, but like, the not very tall base.
It says to attach the sculpture to the existing
Existing
base.
base.
Oh, so it would be wide.
No, yeah, yeah. Low and wide, yeah.
Yeah, the artist, this is the
And,
extent of the artist statement.
But there was,
She does have experience with public sector, public installations.
I know she has sculptures at Ainsworth Gardens, too. She's an amazing artist. I've
And,
seen
you know,
her work at different shows.
and I kind of like the fact that she's basically offering to have a more collaborative approach to the coloring, so that there is a say from both us as well as the community potential. I think
Yeah.
that is a very nice touch from the artist.
Yeah.
Called it a double spiral, 4 feet to 5 feet in diameter sphere.
If it's similar to this, what we're seeing here, this work example, I do feel like it's both contemporary and it has the feeling of community, like
community.
energy,
Agree.
working together.
Yeah,
So I
especially
think,
if it's double, right?
yeah. So I rather like this proposal personally.
Yeah, I agree. Me
I do too.
Yep.
Okay.
So then we're gonna put down a little score from 1 to 5 on each one after we discuss, or 1 to 4, okay.
Yeah.
Got it, okay.
What would the highest score be?
4.
Okay.
So the highest score is 4, and the lowest is 1, okay?
Yeah.
We can come back to anybody, but,
Oh, I thought we were doing it like. I thought,
Just
yeah,
Can we get clarification on
yeah,
that?
I thought we were picking our top 4.
Oh,
So like after we're done looking at everybody, I thought we
It's
would pick our
finals
top
to that.
4 and be like number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and then give that to Anne.
Oh.
Sounds good.
Oh,
Yeah,
rank our
What's
top.
the easiest way?
Yeah.
Picking the top 4 or numbering our choices from 1 to 4?
I like the idea of looking at all of them before you give anybody a score. That seems the most fair.
Yeah, but we're
Right,
saying,
but
what
in
is
our
this?
voting
Yeah, what is the scoring system? Like, I was under the
It's gonna be
impression,
easiest to average. If you do a score, it's gonna be easier to average out and figure out which one's got the highest.
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But are we giving a number to each one, or are we just simply finding our personal top 4 and rating? That's why I think Emma's trying to distinguish. Like, are we saying
I
like?
understand that, and what
Yeah.
I'm saying is if you do 1 through 4, like your top 4 picks, that's gonna be much harder to figure out which
Yeah,
one is
agreed.
getting the highest vote.
Oh,
You have one that
Statistical.
receives 1s and 2s, but if you add them up, 1 is actually higher, but it's getting lower score.
Yep.
And then you have to, figure that out. So
What?
giving it a 1 through 4 in terms of a score, all of them.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
doing the math after is gonna be
Agreed.
much quicker to figure out.
to average out. Okay.
But what's our, I mean,
So
but
one
if we're
is-
doing 1 through 4 for each one, then what's our criteria? We're just
one
our
is
personal
definitely the
preference?
4 is
Like
definitely
1 means we like it the most and 4 means we like it the least for every piece? Is that?
Yeah.
Other way around though.
Okay.
4 would be the high score.
Or it's like we like it the
4 is we
most.
like it the most?
Yeah.
1 is
One is
Pass.
no.
And it's just based on our personal, just whatever gut reaction is to it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Different
thinking
parameters.
about how it fits the feeling, thinking about trying to have representation of different art, and also thinking about safety, I think are 3 things that are good to have in your mind.
I do think the artist's experience and ability to produce the work is also an important criteria.
Yeah. Right.
What about other factors like the cost?
Yeah, we don't have
Yeah, we don't, that's not,
They're only within the budget.
I really do appreciate Emma's input here. We don't want it to be just like, I mean,
Generic.
art is of course personal preference and subjectivity, but let's put some parameters around it. I think, we've
Yeah.
talked about meeting the theme that's been advanced by the McLaughlin neighborhood of welcoming and encompassing.
Yeah.
We've talked about the experience of the artist. I don't know that we necessarily got closure on the Clackamas County or not Clackamas County piece, so,
Yeah, I don't think it should
I
have
don't
a
think you should.
matter.
okay.
Thank you, Pam.
I think it's important to ask Jenny and clarify with her, because she goes into her description that there's a crane needed, and is she going to include that in the grant that she's receiving, or is that going to be an addition
No, it would be included.
included? Okay.
So how about we have like I've got some ideas of possible things that we can consider for a more non-subjective kind of perspective. Like, we can ask questions like, does it reflect the community's vibe? Yes or no? Is this safe? Yes or no? Will it last over time? Right? Will it require a lot of maintenance over time and therefore cleaning and removing stuff that gets crannied in? Those are all kind of objective, right? Evaluation. Does he have a contemporary, kind of edgy, interesting, appealing that we feel may attract, attention to Oregon City? That could be another one. Is it made with safe materials or, materials that make sense given the location, right? Because I remember there are a couple pieces, maybe they're a little bit more easy to damage. Those seem all kind of more objective kind of things versus taste, personal taste.
So just to be clear, you said we're going to look at the theme if the artist is addressing the theme that we're looking for, the artist's experience, any safety issues, longevity issues, and maintenance. Was there anything else?
I think Anne brought up work experience from the artist.
Yes.
Yeah, artist experience.
Yeah,
you
artist
said that,
experience, you
sorry.
said that, yeah, and then I guess artistic merit should be one, right? I mean,
That one's a little more subjective.
Then experience?
yeah, but I mean, yeah, the experience is theoretically, right? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Or maybe do we want to consider something that is like different from what is already present in the city from a public art perspective, so that it adds a new artistic voice that, so if we had, for instance, something that looks in a certain way, we select something that is very similar, it doesn't enrich the portfolio of public art, maybe that could be one where we try to.
Well, maybe this
Diversify.
will help, because I did think about what the process would be for us to select our 4. And as I was putting together that summary sheet, if you can see what's displayed now, I started to create this table. So demonstrated success in the creation of public art. Ability to meet deadlines was something we had put in our RFP. And the success of expressing concepts through their artwork, that was also something. So these were 3 things that I put that was in the RFP that I thought, well, okay, maybe if we could give a score to each of those.
And can we add maybe the longevity?
Without making it overly complicated, maybe we come up with 3 or 4 categories and then go from there.
Well, your column 4, that's experience,
Yeah,
and that kind of ties into
Demonstrating
column 5,
success.
but that's after the fact, after the 4 are selected.
but I mean, column 4 and 6 are almost the same, right? Or unless we mean the 6 is the theme, the kind of community theme?
Yeah.
Okay, then it's fine, yeah.
Why don't I call that?
Sorry, so you're saying you want us to give a score to each of these things
Well,
and then a total at the end, and that's what you're going to use to calculate then?
it's a suggestion. It's a suggestion.
Okay. In my opinion, I would prefer giving 1 score for each piece, 1 through 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And
easier.
taking into consideration all of those
these,
things that have been
yes.
discussed that could potentially play an impact, because
Yep.
in reality, we don't, we can try and, give a score to each one, but we don't know some of the information already for some of the pieces. So it's going to be a judgment call on each of our part, narrowing it down to 4, getting feedback from the neighborhood association, and then coming back with an actual scorecard at the next one to make our final decision.
Yeah.
That we can utilize during the interview process would be more ideal.
Yes.
I think, because right now we just have too many, and think, looking at time, we've got 45 minutes left. We've
Yeah,
been
right.
through
That's
3 of the 15.
Thank you, Josh.
Yeah.
Are people in agreement with what Josh has
Yes.
proposed?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
And again, 4 is our highest score,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay.
So did everyone give Ben Dye a score?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, did everyone give Jenny Ellsworth a
Yes.
score? Okay, and Chris Moon?
Yes.
All right, so we can move on to Travis Pond?
Yes.
I'm sorry, but do we need to can we give everybody the same score, or does each one have to be different when we score them?
I think each
Just
one.
whatever, if you like it.
Your own score.
I like.
Did you
all.
like every single one of those? Like, those are all?
I
the
like
options?
Ben, Jenny, and Travis.
Okay,
Just
cool.
give it all
I'm giving all
4s.
the same score.
4 for 4.
Okay.
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 All right, Travis Pond. Travis Pond is also an Oregon City artist. He has experience in metal sculpture, He has titled this Auspicious Crane. You can see that he is,
Oh, he gave us size.
so.
Cool.
What he's proposed is something, this is a photograph of an existing piece that he says would be similar to the one he is proposing, but it does not yet exist.
Yeah.
So it sounds like the other ones are all cranes that were placed in different locations, Happy Valley. Since crane is the theme.
Yeah, there's things I like about this and things I don't. I actually like the size from there because I think part of the trickiness of that location is that the sidewalk does kind of jut out into the street. So having something large and visible, I think is actually really good. I feel like definitely like cranes live all in this neighborhood along the river. So, but I don't know how much this individual piece speaks to the community
Yeah, agreed.
vibe. Like, so,
And will this eventually turn to rust patina? It looks
oh
like
yeah.
it.
Yes.
He actually has a huge warehouse studio right off of Holly Lane in Oregon City, and it is full of sculptures, all kinds, and he has worked with different cities also. So you remember the one that I saw that he was just creating. It was a huge eagle that he was creating. I almost want to say Gladstone. And I don't remember, and then he also has sculptures all over acreage that is outside the warehouse. I don't remember anything that's rusted.
Yeah. I mean, I have to
Like
say.
there, sorry, there's a picture there of a rust patina,
Yeah.
but that's
Yeah.
potentially purposeful.
Yeah.
The eagle was submitted with the proposal, and it's pretty impressive.
I have to agree with Choir from the perspective of when I look at the metric of community representation. To me personally, this piece feels more actually individualism. It doesn't give me a sense of community, and that sense it gives me more like sticking out and being an individual, which doesn't talk to the team, in my opinion.
Yeah. Like if it was like two cranes or like
Yeah.
even a crane with a nest or something,
Yeah.
some chicks, something that would feel community
Yeah,
to me, but just the
agreed.
one,
This feels quite the
the
opposite.
one regal crane
Yeah.
ruling over the sidewalk.
Yeah.
But I like it. I'm not gonna lie.
Clearly a very talented man.
Yeah.
And I wonder if we can, I mean, he said that it's not an existing, what he's showing is an existing piece, but if we wanted to ask him if there was something he could add to it to make it more community, love that idea of a second crane, or I'm sure that would be a lot more money, but just the possibility of that.
But I mean, the same token then, that metric should be applied to all artists, right? If we want to suggest modification for acceptance, then I think everybody should have the same equal treatment. If we have ideas of how to make them better or more in team, I guess, more than better.
I did say, to answer your question about the finish, he says we could choose. We could either do natural variegated rust, we could do silver gray, we could choose another color, galvanized powder coat with choice of color, so we could decide.
I mean, that would be really nice, like down on the promenade somewhere.
Yeah.
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 By the water.
All right, in the interest of time, I'll move on.
Thanks.
The next artist we're going to talk about is Dave Haslett. He is, that's not alphabetical although he's not an OC artist, he's in Lake Oswego.
I feel like this piece is most in theme with the other work that's already on 7th Street.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I have to say about it.
I
Also, it's not very about communities, and again, it's salmon,
yeah.
like,
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know where, the picture that's in, he is proposing an existing piece, although he does say he has other pieces as well, and that he would like to invite the Arts Commission to come and look.
Yeah.
But it's on page 3 of the handout. salmon totem.
Does he have any kind of Native American heritage?
Yeah, that's
or
what I was gonna
tribal
ask.
affiliation, considering he's making a totem?
Yeah, is it cultural appropriation, or is that just from his culture? The other thing, I do like that it's made from basalt, because that's like,
Yeah.
that's what our rock is around here.
Yeah, I remember this package was talking about using stone only that are local and locally
Yeah.
sourced, which I think is a very nice pro, but
Yeah.
I do agree with the appropriation maybe.
Which it might not be if
Well,
that's,
yeah, I mean, he
Yeah.
might be registered with the tribe.
It's similar to the crane, right, in that sense, it's like an individual versus a community.
Yeah.
So it feels to me.
well, I mean, salmon, so something's really important about salmon in this community where the indigenous people
Yeah,
Yeah,
gathered from all different places
yeah,
in their seasonal rounds to fish here.
yeah.
Like different tribes, different bands, and that was a huge community. So the salmon is, to me, with that background, I know this is like an individual thing. It's like, it almost looks like a number one,
Yeah.
but also like the fact that it's salmon themed. I don't know if it reads salmon to me, honestly, but I like the idea of salmon as far as representing this particular community. Because the roots go deep.
Yeah, particularly if it was an indigenous artist
Yeah.
proposing
and it would
it.
go along with the other salmon on 7th Street.
Yeah.
Now there'd be two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems like it would be low maintenance,
Yeah.
considering that it's made out of basalt and also quite sturdy.
Yeah, the longevity piece.
Well, I think there would be a lot of moss that might grow on it, though,
That's also true.
right?
Maybe the city could pressure wash it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
I definitely, yeah, most definitely
The
thought of
city
that.
pressure washes the sidewalks sometimes.
All right.
Okay.
Do we all feel good enough to vote?
Yep.
Or to grade that one? All right.
Antonia Kusher. Grape, Oregon grape.
I feel like this piece is very Victorian looking.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's,
So this is,
it's the most
Getting
Victorian of the
across
lot.
From the
Anton-
McLaughlin house.
Yeah.
Yukashev, if I'm saying that correctly, and I hope that I am.
Yeah.
He says that this is a model that he created for the purpose of showing us. Obviously, it's metal. He's an artist out of Bend. And he's proposing, this is Oregon grape. It would be 9 to 10 feet tall,
That's cool.
also made out of steel.
Everybody wants to do tall sculptures.
No, I think it's good though because of the location. I'm like,
Good for that location.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of a fan of this one for a few reasons. Just because I'm a plant nerd. And Oregon grape is a food source and it's a medicinal source. And I guess in my perspective, this speaks community to me with the, because plants and their wisdom really do take care of us. And I like the circular design because I feel like circles also represent kind of like connection and community. And I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. It does have a Victorian vibe. I agree. And I don't know if that's like, it goes with the aesthetic of the neighborhood and if that's good or bad, right? So I don't know about that. So anyways.
Very nice.
Any other thoughts, comments?
What's the width? 9 feet tall, how wide?
Oh, sorry, can I say one more thing? It's as an art piece, it's not an exact, it's definitely an abstraction from Oregon grape. It's not an exact like, hey, look, an Oregon grape sculpture. So that was my last point, sorry.
I mean, I think it's impressive that he made a model of it in metal, which is, I think, of all the examples, the person that probably put, one of the top 2 or 3 that put the most effort in showing us what the vision might be.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate.
Again, it also feels similar to other pieces on 7th Street, which is
And-
not a bad thing.
And he talks about the position, if I remember, there was a part where he's talking about the positioning of orange grape, both from a perspective of the indigenous as well as the non-indigenous people of the
Yeah.
area. So that's really
Yeah.
lovely.
Descriptions of other pieces. I was trying to answer the question of how wide, but I'm not
Yeah, I don't know. Doesn't even say how tall, right? Feet tall? I know.
9 to
This
10
says
feet.
9 to 10 feet. So if this is
Yeah. I just did that. Maybe like 2.5.
2.5, yeah,
To 3
couple,
feet-ish?
yeah, 2 to 3 feet.
Are you an expert at installing art?
No, but I'm an architect.
And
All right, I think so the next piece to consider if people are ready to move on is an artist team from Portland, Jennifer Kapnick and Mike Surrey. They have a work that they call Last Dance.
I think this is the one that I couldn't open. I know this is the one.
I don't understand this. I couldn't understand it. I mean, it was very hard for me even from the, but now that I see in bigger size, okay. So it's painted onto the metal, is it?
Yeah, so this is a round disc on top of
So
the
it's
metal.
powder coated, but then like the details of the leaves are painted and painted?
Yeah.
There's another picture of it that helps. Let's
Rather
see.
difficult to maintain.
So this piece does exist already, although
Yeah.
they said if the city
He
of
said, like,
Lagos,
Lake
if the city
Oswego.
of Lagos Oswego ends up
Yeah.
buying it, they'll make another one just like it for us. Basically, I don't want to sound like I'm putting words in their mouth, but that was the idea.
It sounded like that,
Yeah, so this is I think this shows it a little bit more clearly.
I don't remember, do you remember though, like the spiel talking about it, like I'm trying to remember if there was something that relates to community or the theme in any possible way. Can't remember at all. I do worry about the longevity of this piece, the part that is hand painted. It will become like potentially a similar situation that we have with the murals over time. It could chip and crack and be hard to maintain, I guess.
And fade depending on.
Yeah.
Sun and, yeah.
Also, I think it kind of begs to be doodled on to me personally. Begs to, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it's
one
a
of my concerns
lot of
is
graffiti, yeah.
how easy it would be to clean off of some of these. It happens.
Okay.
If he could construct a similar piece, would they alter the interior of the circle to be more fitting to Oregon City, or?
We could certainly, I mean, we could certainly ask. Okay. Are people ready to move on to the next? Yep. Oh, okay. This one is from a California artist, Jose Trejo Maya. And
I remember this was the one about his cultural heritage, Mesopotamian culture and Mexican culture, right? Antique Mesopotamian, languages and transparency. So, I mean, personally, when I was reading it, I really loved the explanation that he gave of why he does these pieces, just because there is so much culture and like embedded in it, and it's an interesting piece from the perspective of sociocultural conversation that you can create around the piece. I kind of tried to look a bit about all the pieces that he made for other locations, just because I was trying to understand the longevity, like how is
Yeah.
it made, would it last, So the longevity part I'm not completely personally sure about, but the poetry of it and the notion of like really trying to work at Mesoamerican and pre-Columbian notion of times, I think is quite beautiful.
Yeah.
Although I'm not quite sure what the representation is in Oregon City of this community. So I'm really attracted from the perspective of diversity, but at the same time, I don't know if it represents actually the current Oregon City demographic. I don't know. That one I really have no idea. And the longevity is a bit.
And it's also very wide.
Yeah.
That's true.
And the longevity is so, I can see being graffitied on top of it and damaged, and then the poetry is gone, right?
It wasn't clear to me too, like, is that hollow all the way through? Like, what's going to prevent someone from climbing
I
in there?
don't know, I couldn't understand.
Okay.
But I was wondering
It wasn't
the same
clear to
thing.
me, yeah.
I think just with the nature of it having so much text that it's really an interactive piece. And right there, I mean, people do walk by, but it's more
Not
of
really.
a vehicle traffic area.
Yeah.
So it might not be as appreciated.
Yeah, agree. And also the graffiti on top would be heartbreaking to see happen, right?
Even though it's really cool.
Right, yeah.
It's a wonderful.
Oh, this could be the beer thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys, this could be the beer thing, right, exactly.
Temporary. And
Get on it.
Remember, that's what James wanted. Yeah.
today, not for yesterday. But it's,
Are there other comments about this proposed piece?
Yeah, let's move on.
The dimensions are strange.
Yeah.
The length, width, and height. It
I think
says
it's gonna
3
fit.
feet.
I think
for
though
height.
that those are examples that he made for other
3
places,
feet?
are not the
Yeah, it
prototypes
doesn't-
for
Yeah,
us.
These are other examples.
They are examples from other places, he made it for other people.
I mean, I think it's beautiful, but
It
it's
is
just not
wonderful.
really right for the
Not
spot.
for that
I
particular.
wish we had the money to put it somewhere. It's so lovely.
This would be great in front of the new courthouse.
It's beautiful, yeah, it's so poetic, it's wonderful.
By the library or
Oh, it would be so nice in the library, oh, it would be gorgeous.
All right, are we ready
Perfect
to
for the
move on?
library. Harris. Oh yeah, the merry-go-round.
The next artist is a woman sculptor from Idaho named Lee Harris. It was hard to capture her. Did anybody watch the video?
I did.
Yes, I did, yeah.
Okay, because it was hard to capture this image. It was,
This
These will
was
all
amazing.
have different renditions here. Smaller. In here, it would be aluminum train, wagon train going all the way around and then coming back. At the bottom, it'll be covered with machine-painted steel that fish will be put on.
and then she had another top, this like
did I
totem
s-
pole that's meant to look like a merry-go-round.
And there's supposed to be a piece that goes right in the middle there.
Piece too, yeah.
Specifically made
Yeah.
for orange.
Just
It looks
do
like-
hand.
It looks like there's pioneers,
Yeah, that's what I
moose, and
So it spins around. It's crazy. Good.
I don't
And it rotates? It rotates.
Yeah, I wanted to ask the question about that. The paper part, it seems to be like caravans of the
Yeah.
pioneer
Yeah.
team,
cowboys.
cowboys, that
Yeah.
kind of
And
stuff.
also
We
bears
already
and
have a lot of
nature.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we already
Can
keep
you
that.
buy that?
We have a lot of that. That's right. And also this one is,
Sorry.
Video.
And then eagles on the top.
I mean, the birds look cool though.
I mean,
Somebody's gonna go.
Eagles on the top.
It's like a mock-up, yeah. It's
Yeah.
like a sketch if
So
you
it's
will.
like a lot of Americana symbolism, right?
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna grab those eagles. Just-
I think it's kind of cool that it spins.
Yeah.
Yeah, that you can go up and play with that, yeah. I agree.
This spinning stuff I love, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember how big it is.
And are they welds that hold the piece together?
Yeah, the
There's a lot
proportion of these
welds.
rods,
Those are nice
because I can
silhouettes.
imagine like pulling
Really
them
nice.
down
Those are
and
really
bending
nice
them,
silhouettes.
doing it, because they seem very skinny, right?
It'd be easy to
That's crazy
vandalize.
artist. This is
It's super easy to
Yeah,
vandalize.
yeah. That'd be nice, like in a garden.
Yes.
Would be a revolving
was
sculpture, the
seeming like
granite
to
can
me,
be
like
carved
yard
into
art.
whatever animal.
art, yeah.
It feels like
Like,
that. It doesn't
Where would
feel
the
like
granite
actual
be?
art, yeah.
I think in that. Actually, I'm not sure.
Eyes, does it?
Maybe bears could be in the middle.
I love this artist.
Yes, me
I
too.
meet her.
I do too. Yeah.
I know.
Artists are.
I'm not sure I know the dimensions.
There's lots of stuff going on.
That's ideas. All right,
That's what I.
we're moving to 10.
Yeah,
McRae, Wild.
ready to move to
Wilding.
10?
I think we're ready to move on.
Yeah.
McRae.
This artist is from Hood River. He also made a mock-up of what he is proposing.
Yeah.
Calls
This is
this
really
intersections.
So about this piece, I personally like two particular things, well, more than two, but one is the sense of this round that gives me a sense of continuity and kind of embracing community, but also the fact that it's got this spherical thing that kind of points in a direction almost, and it kind of seems to go, towards the future. There is the kind of narrative almost. I do also love the fact that it is a very simple geometric contemporary shape, but also with this powder, I'm assuming would be powder coated inside, and the idea of having something that has got a bit of a pop of color and contemporary, almost like it could be oriented also in a way that try to drag your attention towards maybe part of the landscape behind, like I can imagine positioning a little bit in a way to try to how do you say, frame some interesting focal point in the neighborhood.
Probably the McLaughlin house.
And, in terms of cleaning and maintenance, it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
There's no cranny, little weird stuff, right? It feels very,
Well, it's hollow.
It's
Yeah.
also nice that it's different.
yes,
I like that it's different.
it's not
from-
pioneering.
So it would be 7 feet tall and about 4 feet wide.
So would that block the sidewalk?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think it could be, I think it would be
Because you
okay.
could put it
Yeah.
parallel to
Exactly.
the road, is that what
And,
you're saying?
and he's proposing it be made of aluminum.
Reinforced aluminum, I would imagine, right? Because otherwise, it'd be-
And yes, I'm sure we could play with the color.
yeah.
I think it's cool. My only thought is that, and I'm not trying to poo-poo things, but my only thought is that it's so simplistic, and I know that, and I'm just thinking about the type of comments we got from the art survey and the mindset of some individuals. And I just feel like because it's so simplistic, people could be like, that's what we're spending our money on? Like, that's what the art commission's choosing? That's my only concern with this one. Like, I like the circle, I like the energy, I like the, negative and positive space push pull and the color. And I think it's really cool. I don't know that this community, as a whole, would totally connect with it, is my concern. That's all.
And I feel like if the center, like right now, you can see the base. It looks like just 3 pieces of metal put together.
Yeah.
I disagree, but I think it becomes then a very personal perspective. But I do feel that as an arts commission, also our responsibility is not to be following. It's also to put a light towards what art is and can be, versus giving things that are wanted by maybe a number of different individuals, not all of them maybe understanding the diversity that art can represent. And so I think that is also our responsibility to put a spotlight on contemporary art and educate people about what it means and what it can mean and create a narrative around it, right? Because otherwise we're gonna do the pioneer caravans forever, and that would be very, very sad because we are in 2024, but that's kind of
Yeah, no,
strong perspective. I
Yeah, no, I
understand.
feel you on that. I feel you on that. I feel when I look at this one as compared to like the moving one that's also very
Oh, yeah,
contemporary.
yeah.
I feel like this has more of a chance of connecting than oversimplicity.
Yeah, I think from that perspective, certainly this one, of all the submission, is the most contemporary
Yeah.
artwork,
Yeah.
right? The other ones have got, some of them are contemporary, but more traditional metal work. This is the one that is the most contemporary. So certainly is the most adventurous. If we were to go in this direction, would be the one that requires a bit more staking. That's for sure.
Yeah, and
absolutely.
I also feel like when you were educating, there's a tender balance between like, here's a contemporary piece of artwork, and also here's something that we think you should like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
for sure, for sure.
even if we know.
Like,
might
I
not
can
live.
imagine, I'm thinking if, given the size, I can imagine, for instance, and can envision, if we were to allow it, children loving sitting
That's true.
inside that
Yeah.
thing. I can see children just loving peekaboo. I mean, I can actually see becoming something that attracts a lot of interaction
Yeah, that's
from
true.
children in particular, and a lot of people taking selfies in front of it, and the peekaboo inside, and it could become an interesting actually discussion piece that might actually become very much about the community because of the interaction that kind of fosters through its shape. That could be, right? I mean, I can imagine kids loving going inside and just hiding there,
I mean,
right?
if they do, though, I would like it to have more rounded edges.
Right.
Yes, definitely has to be built with waves that are a bit more, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But this is like
It's a model.
is a pretty
Right, it's just
cheap model.
Yeah.
Made
Little
with tin.
mock-up.
Yeah. Yeah.
This one,
Maria Mann. I searched on it online. She's got really cool stuff.
what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna show you instead. Mari Aman, I believe she's from Illinois.
This one,
She is a photographer,
she describes it in a piece of
but sorry. I'll show you.
his, well, this one was a boat, moving boat.
In terms of actual proposals, this was what we got. Oop, no, that's the, sorry.
There was a write-up about it.
All right, I'm sorry. I'm clicking the wrong one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this was kind of, she has got very interesting work on her
Yeah.
website. She's an interesting artist.
Yeah.
Really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, sorry that took a few too many clicks. So she has two different, she's just really given us these sketches.
No, but she had a description in writing about both in her letter that talked about
summary.
them.
And this one was potentially going to be made out of, what was it? Earth?
It was in the, maybe,
Earth?
Mariman, yeah, that one maybe.
Like clay?
Yeah, and it was like different natural materials, if I recall. I can't
how's that
remember.
gonna
I
work?
was not
Concerned.
Longevity style.
Yeah,
About that.
Yeah, her work is
The
cool.
material.
the work is really cool.
Yeah, it's very
Everything else
evocative.
There was a
proposed
great
was a-
write-up,
she
I don't
showed
remember
was a
what it was,
photograph.
where she talks
I'm trying
about it.
I'm trying to get to the description that you were
Maybe
talking
it's
about,
not this
Daria.
one. Yeah, there was a, do you remember there was like something writing?
Yeah, and it
describing
was
these,
talked
and
about the
it was a letter.
inspiration behind the piece was like Scandinavian folk tales.
Yes, yes, which doesn't really.
Doesn't necessarily
Yeah, to
relate to our
Oregon
community.
City, yeah.
But still interesting.
It was very interesting, yeah. And there you
Oh,
go.
here it
Oh,
is.
here it is, yeah, okay. My interest is,
Portals. It was about portals.
Yes.
The first one was a portal and the other one was the boat.
It kind of coincides with
It reminds me of Anna Has anyone ever heard of Anna Mendieta?
But what does it say about the material? Oh, yeah, here.
Oh, hold on.
Carving made of wood and other sorts of removed
I got it.
fiber with stones, earth, and plants.
kind of relates
second
to
one
the
is a
Hudson's
sort of-
Bay Company because it was.
Yeah.
I was unclear. Has she done like public art installations like outside? Because there was a lot of photography installation. I couldn't tell.
Well, I found a few, but I couldn't don't remember. I went on their website because I was
Yeah.
very confused by the proposal and I couldn't
Yeah.
understand, so I went on the website and that's where I found some stuff.
Well, that looks like a temporary
Yeah.
sculpture installation.
Yeah, I did some similar digging and just found
was very
things
hard.
of this sort of temporary.
It feels more like conceptual installation that are
Yeah.
very beautiful,
Yeah.
but I
Something
think the
and-
longevity is a little bit of a concern.
I mean, I love her art.
Yeah.
Beautiful, yeah.
This person, I feel like,
Amazing.
because we're trying to distinguish who we want to come give us a full-on
Yeah.
proposal.
Yeah.
And some of these applications were a full-on proposal already, and some of them weren't. And this one is one who's not.
No,
You know, so I think
it's not really
Yeah.
ready. Yeah.
it's tricky to know, like,
Complete.
honestly, from her sketch with the little boat thing that swings around, interactive, playful, fun,
Yeah.
I would want to see the proposal for that,
Yeah.
honestly, like, very bad, so,
It would be cool to
Yeah.
see it. To go beyond these drawings.
yeah.
Yeah.
But she doesn't speak of specific public installations.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I just don't
So
think I have
that's a-
enough information.
seems risky,
yeah.
Yeah.
her eggs in that
This
basket.
isn't in English either, her descriptions.
Well, that's okay.
Interesting.
Is that Scandinavian?
For him.
Really pretty though.
Right. Time. Okay.
She really reminds me of Anna Mendieta.
We have one more, unless we go beyond. Matt Cartwright is a Portland artist. He made this model.
Okay. So we move it to
Calling it
Matt.
the Heron
Another
Gesture
heron.
Sculpture.
Yeah,
Yes, people love heron.
well, I think probably because the blue heron paper
Yeah,
mill
yeah.
too.
The size is really cool. It's super gigantic.
Yeah.
Sounds like.
7 feet tall,
It's-
4 feet deep.
If that's 7 feet tall, this is a very,
Very
tiny
small
person.
hand.
right?
It's like a very little kid. All right. Okay. Funny.
It would also be aluminum as opposed to steel and about a 5-foot wingspan.
Yeah.
I don't,
A little low, the wings.
yeah, I could see people accidentally walking into
I
the
just-
face.
Yes.
Honestly.
Cutting the face with the sharp edges.
He did talk about potentially putting LED lights where the eyes are.
Oh boy. Okay. Wow.
There were a
Whoa.
light source that could be lit up from, the eyes could be lit up.
I could see this like maybe down at 14, down at 14th.
Or Clackamas Park.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, yeah.
I didn't realize that. Okay.
Do people want to look at, there were 3 that did come in after the deadline. I know we have a,
Yeah, do we feel like we
yeah,
have to
no.
automatically throw this all
this was
out
like-
because you're late?
I know.
No, please, let's include them because they're good.
Blue one.
They're really
Okay, it was just
good.
blue because of the topic. Oh.
Are we down to the,
Yeah.
are we on to Benjamin?
Yeah.
Benjamin Meadford. He lives in Westland, but his studio is here.
So it's like I didn't see this, I guess.
Yeah, he's the artist whose studio is here in Oregon City.
So this is proposing to put a giant violin.
It's confusing because of the background.
Yes,
Yeah,
he
he's
did
laying
not
down
put,
on
he would want to use something like making out of stone,
Kind of pretty, honestly.
I feel like, it seemed like he said it could be any musical instrument that we chose.
That's also,
Oh, that's fun.
you can say that.
But what is
But,
the
I mean,
connection
we're
with the
not-
community?
Yeah, we're not
There's
really.
no connection whatsoever.
I mean, it's
We
very
do have
close
podcasts.
to Wally's.
Yeah, Wally's is right across the street. That's exactly what I thought.
Wally's big stretch over there. Just right there.
Like his,
Is it
in his
giant
artwork, he
ring?
takes
Okay.
everyday objects and makes them large.
Gigantic,
Okay.
okay, big.
That's
Kind
nice.
of cool.
Yeah,
Where that is.
Yeah.
Piece.
Bold.
very phallic.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty. That's very cool.
There's a bit of a theme.
Yeah, that's nice.
This one's in Lake Oswego.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I'm not sure where this one is.
Millville.
Minville. Yeah, that's cool.
I mean, I really struggling with the connection to the team with this one. I like the notion of making gigantic an everyday object. I think is
Yeah.
lovely as a concept,
Yeah, I like
but
that concept.
I'm not quite sure why
Not
a
feeling that.
music instrument
Yeah.
doesn't feel
No.
fitting the topic.
Music does
it's just
bring people
art.
together in community.
Yeah.
Does it have to have a meaning?
I don't know. Yeah, I feel like music is very community,
Yeah.
music, anything evoking music evokes joy to me, evokes
Yeah,
community,
for
evokes
sure.
celebration.
Honestly, I think you should suggest this to the city of Cremona in Italy because it is the house of Stradivarius, the home of Stradivari. I'm not joking. We would
There
actually
you go.
be able to put several instruments, like violins, not instruments, violins
Yeah.
and string instruments like that. It would be very fitting there because it's what the city is about.
Right.
Okay.
And also they were late in submitting.
Also late. Oh, okay. Well then.
But like by an hour or by?
I don't think we should.
Well, City of
He
Oregon
just came in
City
on
does
Wednesday.
not allow other groups to submit after the fact, after
Now, these two,
bid request
Daniel
is
Borbs,
ended,
this
so I
was
think we should
a
follow
couple
that.
hours late, you know.
No,
policy.
these are really.
Unfortunately, and I
This one
love
wasn't
this
No,
one.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Yeah,
My
no,
God,
we
it's my
have to-
favorite.
Yeah, no, we have
my
to.
favorite.
the
Can I
city-
make a comment
we
about
cannot
the
pass
musical
this one by
instrument?
and We have to let the community vote on this because this is the closest one to what they had before. Yeah.
The musical instrument, the Benjamin Mefford, it did say in there that it could be interactive,
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
could
pretty
be-
neat.
that could be cool.
interesting
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
So this one is really the closest to what was there before. I mean, it's very different.
The two
Emma's
people,
moved on to
the
the-
two
yeah.
people.
Yeah.
It's very
For
similar.
a second, I thought that, the pole that is there in the picture before, I thought it
Oh,
was
right.
part of it, and I'm like, what are they holding? But now I realize.
As a new commissioner, I have a question. Is it our policy that we accept applications that come in after the deadline?
We don't have a policy.
Well, City of Oregon
I'm
City
showing
has a
them for-
policy.
How long, how late was this?
But this is different.
This one was a couple hours late.
Applications before and it's been after.
Yeah.
They said no.
It came in before we reviewed it.
Yeah, came in at 7:00 at night.
It's okay. That is not too bad.
I mean, don't turn this down. This is really, the
Is this
community really should look at
coded,
this. It's like, if you turn it down.
This
because
artist
of
is in
community-
Idaho.
Yeah. I mean, I've got it now.
And these would be about 6 feet tall.
And what's the material? Oh, it's steel.
Still.
Did it say that it would have to be blue, or could we select a color?
I'm almost positive we
said
could
you could
select.
choose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, we got one more. I'm just gonna. Oh, that's Mr. Meaford again.
Mitzi Kluger. So the next one is, what is this one? Oh, so this is.
Okay, yeah,
This another kind of, yeah.
okay.
Oh, what happened there?
So she is a West Lynn artist. This came in about an hour after the deadline. It's steel and glass.
Glass.
I don't know.
Glass is
Glass.
dangerous right there.
Yeah, yeah, it's not a,
No glass.
it's a safety concern.
Also height, I don't.
Yeah.
Be pretty like inside the new courthouse.
Yeah, something like that, yeah, okay. Does everybody have their score for this one?
Well, I think we should make a vote whether or not we should allow the late submittals
Well, you're the
into
chair,
the, I
so
mean, that's what I feel.
you get to call it, yeah.
Okay, well, let's make a vote. Who would like to allow the 3 late submittals into our,
Can I ask a question real quick? In the RFP, did it say late submissions will not be considered anywhere?
No, I don't think it did.
Okay.
You'll have
well, 5 PM was the
I mean,
deadline.
You have a right to
5
call a
PM was the
vote.
deadline.
I would like to
Right
call a
to
vote.
vote.
Like 5 p.m. we said, right?
We did say a
Yes.
certain date by 5 PM.
I'm just going to say, as an artist who submits work and gets it in on time, I would be very upset if somebody was selected that did not submit in the time frame that was
I agree.
required.
Yeah.
And if we change that precedent, then, people might get upset in the future and be like, well, you let these other folks
Agree.
do that.
Yeah.
It's a very good point.
But I mean, that also, what about how information is distributed in the community? If we're always so strict about how we do things, we might be ignoring, I mean, some people don't have access to information in the same way that other people do. I mean, people who maybe work all the time and art is something that they, different kinds of communities. I mean, I just don't think that there's this standard about punctuality that is very Western. And it's very, I mean, it's a standard that like not all cultures embrace. And I don't think that we as artists need to hold ourselves to that standard in every situation, especially when there's work that really merits our consideration.
My thoughts are, I had the same things going on, working, was a couple hours late submitting a proposal request, and mine got denied because I was past the 5 PM deadline.
Yep.
So,
Well, how long did we have this up, though, and available for people to know about? I know we
Not
had some
very long.
challenges getting it out,
Yeah, it
but
hasn't been out very long.
It was about 2 months, but
But I mean, the information getting distributed, it's not the same thing as.
The thing though, I mean, one thing to consider, and I'm in two minds about this, to be honest, because I can see both sides of this argument equally.
Me too.
One thing to consider for us as commissioners, I guess, is that if, let's say, for instance, that one of the people that came late is one of the selected one, right? And maybe get selected even. Later on, that person might say, oh, don't worry, you can submit late. I managed to get my artwork in because I submitted late and I managed to get in, right? So, I mean, that person might actually distribute information that might actually, in a way, harm the credibility of this commission. And so I think that kind of worries me a little bit because we create a precedent, to your point, that may be damaging to our reputation as an organization.
Yeah, this was my absolute favorite, and I want so much to say yes, but my past career, I did state and city bids constantly for my profession. You could not be 1 minute late. They stamped your proposal if you were 1 minute late. And I agree that we have to have some kind of boundaries with, and it breaks my heart. I wish I could, but I can't in good conscience say, yes, let's accept it, because you have to have some kind of rules.
I'm just so in such disagreement. I'm really offended by this whole conversation because it prioritizes information and how information is distributed, and it doesn't bother to analyze who's getting the information or how they're receiving it. So it puts all of these blinders on, and we know for one thing for sure that people who have a certain level of privilege are much more likely to get information much sooner than others. And I mean,
It's a very
especially,
good point.
especially when we see the results of what we've
Can I ask
gotten.
you a question? When would you deny someone? If someone sent in a proposal tonight,
I mean,
right now,
the pieces.
do you accept that?
The piece is, it's sitting here in front of us for us to look at. That means it got here in time for us to look at it. I don't see what,
Well, yeah, can I speak to this real quick? Ann and I actually had a discussion because there were proposals that were hours late and proposals that were days late. And I was like, personally, hours late, I'm okay with. And I understand there's been three thoughts voiced about like, hey, this is just the way things work. I've been under this pressure, you know, like, and I understand that we have a chance to choose if we want to treat these people that way. Did you like being under that pressure? Did you like being treated that way when like you were only like an hour late and they're like, yep, sorry, you did all this work. No, you know, is that who we want to be? And I'm just giving all sides to this argument, and I agree with the precedent. And that's why I asked, like, I have, in many of my applications, like it clearly states late applications will not be considered. And we did not put that, and I'm not saying that's an error for liability. I'm just saying if we want to be sticklers about this in the future, I think we should state that. But I think hours late is, I don't think it's nothing, but I think the concern with punctuality is, will this person deliver, honestly? If they were hours late with their proposal, are they going to be months late with their sculpture?
Yeah.
And I understand that. And again, we have references to go by. We can call these people's references and be like, what was it like to work with them? Were they late? You know, if that's a concern too. So I really hear Emma's argument of like, is that how we want to treat people? Like, sorry, a couple hours, even though we know it's a ton of work to do this, and you know, you may have not gotten the information on time and all that stuff. I understand that argument. I just want to say that I think both sides are valid. I think we just need to decide who we want to be and how we want to do this.
I mean, if the pieces didn't match what the community was expressing, I wouldn't feel so strongly about it.
Yeah.
But if we as an arts commission are going to turn down pieces that specifically reflect what the community has expressed an interest in, then we're neglecting like at least part of what we've been asked to do as an arts commission. Yeah. And that's my concern.
May I ask a question? So there were other late submissions?
I showed you every submission we got.
Yeah.
So there's no other, no, because you mentioned that there were some were only hours and some were days late.
Right.
So the days late are not here.
No, that was just
Mr. Meaford arrived on Wednesday,
So like
2 days.
2 days late.
And the other two were later that day.
Later the day of the due date? Okay.
At that point, given, I mean, I don't know, it's a tough one.
I will
I think
say
if
we
you
did-
break a rule, you have to break the rule for everyone.
Although we did not specifically say in the RFP that late submissions would not be considered, we did list them as one of the criteria in selecting the artist, number 5, ability to meet deadlines.
yeah.
And also, did we say this day by 5 p.m. or a
Yes, we
specific
did.
time?
We did.
By 5 p.m. was the time that we listed.
So that is
Well, where
written, right?
Could we
does
say,
it say that? I'm seeing RFQ deadline, February 24. Where does it say
5 p.m.
Must have been on the
February
website.
1? This was the problem I had. I did not see the 5 p.m.
Oh,
deadline
yeah.
either on my system.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a
That's
problem.
interesting.
That would be.
If it's not there,
To be able to
then it's
accept
till
these.
midnight.
could we
The
just say
actual.
that for this time, that we allow it since we were not specific?
Yes.
Yes.
But from now on, when we do an RFP, we make sure that it's very specific what the deadline is.
Yep.
Also,
When
we
I
need to
read
ensure
a
that what's
date,
on the
I
web
think
is.
midnight
Yeah.
of that date.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's.
Which
and I
which
was
is
not
extremely
correct in
common
that
practice for our calls, honestly, is midnight is the cutoff.
End of day.
I think almost every submission I've ever done, midnight has been the cutoff. I'm not gonna lie.
11:59.
Yeah, 11:59, yes, that is the right.
I think especially if we've got a written piece and, oh,
Go ahead,
Okay.
Josh.
I was just gonna say, I think that's a good thing to put in a policy about midnight, day of the whatever submission, make sure it's clear and that late submissions won't be accepted. But I think to Emma's point, we should also include in that policy ways we would try to deliver the information to everyone equally so that people do all have the same time allotment to respond. I think there's things we can do better there. So I do agree that if we do put the policy in, we should work on the other side as well in terms of
Yeah.
our delivery of information.
so here on the website it says 5 PM and the RFP doesn't.
Correct, yes.
Well, but
then
that's
count.
after the fact, though.
Yeah, but a lot of times when you're applying, you're just going
And
by
there's, yeah. this
the
one
official
doesn't say 5.
RFP.
Yeah, it doesn't say.
I really
It doesn't say,
Can
it
you
doesn't
keep-
say in your request for proposals that there's a time.
Okay, so it's gonna miss
know.
0, so is it a 2 or 3?
Wait, hold on. Oh, sorry. Just on the selection process. Okay, go ahead.
And it also says
Yeah,
2 to 3 finalists.
And I'm gonna have to go pretty soon.
All right, I think you're right. It said it on the website, but it does not appear to have a time on the RFP itself.
Yeah, and so we could say that our mistake, we didn't set a time, so we are going to accept it for this time only, but then
But I
clarify
think
it.
those that were
Yeah.
delivered that day, not
Right,
a day later.
yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
all right, well then that means, so Benjamin Meaford is the one that was 2 days late. The other two, Daniel Borup and Mitzi Kugler, were received on the right day. Thank you, Rebecca. Do you want to?
Did you have scores?
Oh, yes, I've got the email. Hey, Rebecca, just noticed one thing though.
Thank you.
Was 0 part of the numeric thing? Also, one,
I'm gonna have to.
you're not
go
even
to-
counting them?
I'm sorry.
All right.
I do
so we-
appreciate that we're past time, so thank you, everybody, for staying a little bit late.
Yeah, no worries. Do we want to tally real quick or?
Sure, let's do this.
Do I have to put names? No.
No, we don't.
And
sorry,
just so you
I'm
know,
sorry, I have to
emailed you
leave.
my selection.
Do you want to email it to me, or how would you like to get it to me?
No, it should be in your inbox.
Oh, perfect. Thank you, Josh.
I gave,
So we'll table the potential content for social media for our next meeting then, since we are so past time.
Do you need help with that?
Yes.
No, I'm gonna do it right now. Okay. Do people want to hang out, or do we want to?
Yeah, yeah.
Should I end the meeting since people are leaving? Okay, what time is it?
8:39.
8:39, we're
Well, then, do you want me to announce the, make an announcement to, yeah, I can. make it. Josh, are you still there? All right, well, I'd like to thank everybody for staying late.
didn't start the meeting again.
Oh, sorry.
Can we start it now, or should we wait till he?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So 3:51, reconvening the March 21 Arts Commission meeting.
I'd like to thank everybody for staying late tonight. It's kind of an exciting night to go over the different proposals. So I will read off the score. The highest score was for Jenny Ellsworth and the double spiral. She got a score of 28. The next was Daniel Borup with the two figures. He got a score of 27. And then McRae Wild from Hood River with the, what is it? With intersections. He received a score of 24. Then Then we had two then we had two tied scores, so then two artists received 22s. So, and that was Dave Haslett from
Oh, here.
with the salmon totem piece. And the other proposal that received a 22 was Anton Yakushev's proposal with the Oregon grape. So I'm not sure if we want to try to do a tiebreaker or what we want to do, but so that's what I tallied based on the scores everyone received.
Yeah. Would it be possible to
I say we
invite
set
all?
the 5 to him.
Oh, wait, I didn't do Josh's. Josh is the tiebreaker.
Oh, you did two Joshes, oh my God.
Maybe everything might change.
Thanks for speaking, Josh.
I'm sorry, Josh.
You're fine.
Did you vote for any of the top one? Let's see.
It might
Yeah,
change
several
things for
might.
everyone. You know, it might change.
I have an idea who's going to break the tie if I'm the tiebreaker.
Who,
my
Josh,
gosh.
who?
Boy, I could just, this is awesome.
It's a good variation of styles.
Yeah, it is. It's good. Nice representation.
Add this in.
Sorry, guys.
Did this make it?
So annoying. It's a vast improvement. It sounded really bad.
And that tied with the.
Yeah, these two.
Still probably gonna be 2 more weeks.
I know. Thank you for letting me know. It's okay.
Sorry, this will just take a couple moments. Suspense is killing me.
I know, man. Seriously.
That is a really wide range.
Yeah, that was very, it's a nice
Good variety.
amount
It
of
is.
submissions. It was cool.
I love it. It's a really good range of choice.
My plant nerd heart is so in love with the Oregon grape one.
Come on.
I want to buy that for my house.
You should. You know, like he made a little mini.
I know. I'm like, how
You
much
should
is
buy
the mini?
the mini.
It's so cute.
The baby version.
Baby version. Put it in my yard
I had to put one in
next to my Oregon grapes.
It would probably be Jenny McFadden. This one. Really, honestly, Benjamin should
bollards
definitely
should be
be in touch with
The
Clint.
what?
No joking.
Bollards.
He could make
Those
gazillions out of
posts
shipping.
that they
his
put
art.
to my friends, so if
Oh, yeah.
there's
I don't
a
know if
car
I think
that
you'll-
hits it, it'll hit the ball.
I mean, it's the city of violin.
Never even heard of that.
It's like the only
Like
international
concrete
school of
and
violin
metal
making in the
poles.
world. It's
Yeah.
in Cremona.
And
There are
I-
huge
So you
sculptures
put
there,
Yeah.
shaped like violins everywhere.
can't
There are
get
massive sculptures there.
Huh.
Because all the Stradivari's, all the Amati, all the most famous
Like, you know, kids
Are
are
there.
climbing that.
Yeah.
Like, you
they've
know.
got amazing music
I mean, I feel like they should
stuff all the
add
time with string instruments.
a
Yeah.
So it could
case
actually
that encircle the entire.
sell there. I mean, I would imagine. That would be good too.
Okay, so who did this add things up? Oh, this bumps,
One would quickly.
Well, I like being able to discuss it though because
No, but I mean.
okay, do you guys want to hear the new results? So now we have a two-way tie in first place for Jenny Ellsworth with 31 points, and also Daniel Borup with 31 points.
Daniel.
That's
Which
the
one's
one
Daniel?
from Idaho with the two figures, the two
Oh, the two figures. Okay, that's fine.
So is 1B.
Okay. And then who are the
Mick
next?
Gray Wild has 28 points.
Which one was that?
McRae Wild was intersections.
Okay, yeah,
Dave Haslett with the
salmon,
salmon totem, he had 26.
so that's 3.
And then and Travis Pond had 24. So we still have 5. We still have 5 if we do it that way.
Well, we've got 2 in 1 and then.
So 2 artists received a score of 31 points.
So Anton Yakushev is gone, not on it.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's a little.
Anthony's gone.
Yeah, he
I
got down by
know.
1. Yeah, so it was the next one down was
Yeah.
23 instead
Yeah.
of 24.
So I'm gone. So we have basically Jenny,
Oh, so the roses,
Jenny,
we lost the
McRae.
roses.
The roses.
So basically,
I know, that's sad to me.
The work
like
of
the
great
metal ball is one,
They kind of.
tied with the blue figures, right?
Yeah,
Correct?
yeah.
Then
so
there
those-
is the orange and the other round thing,
Yep,
and then the other one is the salmon.
the salmon totem.
That's the
yeah.
salmon.
So we got number 2, number 5, number 10, and number 14.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, cool.
Yay.
Yes, we did
Doing
it.
business with you.
So those are the 4 folks that we will invite to participate in.
Those 4.
Did you say number 4?
No. Number 2,
5,
10.
10, and 14.
I think Anne mentioned 4
Yeah.
was in 5th place.
Yes, because there was a 2-way tie for 31, at 31 points.
What?
And then the next one down was McRae Wild at 28 points. And then the one after that was 26 points, which was Dave Haslett.
The salmon.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
salmon.
So we only ended up with 4 then?
Yeah.
Well,
First is tie, but.
yeah, so if we include those 2.
All right.
Move
Time to go home for me.
sleeping.
All right, thank you, everyone. I think we're ready to officially
End it at 9:02.
to adjourn.
9:02. Sorry.
Thank you.